Good afternoon, everybody. I just wanted to share my thoughts on this whole coronavirus thing because it's kind of close to home for me. Uh, I'm typically in the middle. Most of you that have know me and watch my videos and stuff, I'm all about the yin yang, the balance. I totally get the people that are nonchalant, and I totally get the people that overreact. I typically, for something like this, I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. It's not going to affect me. I have control over that, but this isn't about me because both my parents are still alive, and I'm thankful for that. They are older. My mother is dealing with cancer. My father has other issues he's dealing with. So they are susceptible to the mortality rate of the coronavirus. Now, with my current business, I go into people's houses. I can protect myself all I want. I don't know where these people have been and who they've been in contact with. So, with the virus, a lot of people are saying, "Wow, the flu kills a bunch of people. This killed that many people." Okay, does this make this any less? A life is a life. The difference with this, that I understand it to this point, is it's highly contagious. It's more contagious than many of the other viruses, meaning that you can catch it very easily with very little. It gets passed on very easily, and it survives outside the body much longer. It survives on surfaces much longer. Telephones, microphones, doorknobs, elevators, buttons, whatever, right? And it also, you can be a carrier and not show symptoms. So, for example, I could get it from someone and have it for 2 weeks and not show any symptoms. During that time, go visit my parents and pass it on to them. Where I've accepted death, my parents, we've talked about it, their wills are done, all that stuff's done, we've talked about it, but I'm not ready for that. And it would bother me just a little bit if I knew I was the one that gave them the virus that cost them their life. I don't want that to happen. So there is the law of attraction. Stuff like this isn't going to happen to me if I think positive. But then there's reality, right? Because if it was just me, I know I'd be fine. But it's not just me. I'm dealing with other people, and there's my parents. So I'm dealing with their aura, their thoughts, their energy. So therefore, the extra precaution. Therefore, thinking about others. So we know that there's people that are very nonchalant about it. We know that people don't wash their hands, right? I witness it all the time before the coronavirus, and you see somebody leave the bathroom without washing their hands. It's bad enough that you've used the bathroom and you haven't washed your hands, but that gives you an opportunity to wash your hands from everything else you've touched before you came in the bathroom. So sometimes, and if you have kids, if you're a boss, a leader, if you've dealt with people, sometimes you have to go over the top to get people to do stuff, to take things seriously. So therefore, the heightened sense of awareness of all this. Now, the flip side to that is, again, you have people that are nonchalant, and because it spreads so easily, uh, we've already seen, we're lucky. We've seen what happened in China. We've seen what's happened to Italy. We've seen what happened to other countries. We see what's happening in Washington State. We see what's happening in New York. So we know that it can spike. So what happens when it spikes, when you have a large mass that gets sick, it overwhelms the hospitals. Now, yes, we know that most people that get it, if you're healthy, you're going to get over it. Yes, this is true. But when it spikes and a large amount of people get it, the people that need the help are going to overwhelm the hospitals. So, with this abundance of caution that's going on right now, it will spread out the the people that are getting it over a period of time instead of spiking and overwhelming the system. That's the main reason for the abundance of caution. Now, I've heard some people say that the effects of the economy and the workers that are working for low wages, it's going to last and affect them way more than the effects of the virus. Well, that's relative. If you have a friend or family member that dies because someone was careless and got in contact with them and caused them to die from the virus, I think you might be a little bit more upset. Maybe not, I don't know. But money can be replaced, a life can't. Whenever there's a national disaster, things are allowed to happen. Just like when Hurricane Irma came through Florida, if you were affected by it, you could put in a claim to your mortgage company and have your mortgage deferred. I took advantage of it. It worked for me. And when it was all said and done, actually, they refinanced my mortgage. I got a lower interest rate and lowered my payment. So, and that's why the government's putting in stimulus packages now for people to be able to take sick leave and whatnot. So, there's always a solution, and I respect it. For those of you that have the conspiracy theories that China made this and they're trying to conquer the world and the new world order, well, your truth is your reality. I don't live in that world. I don't believe in conspiracy theories. Does it happen? Sure, but that's not part of my reality. Reality is we have a virus that's very contagious and that elderly people can, the mortality rate for them is very high. And because of my contact with people and my parents, I'm going to be a little more cautious. Now, the reality is, a friend of mine that does the same thing, he went to do a job at somebody's house, and being polite, the guy stuck out his hand, so he shook his hand, even though I thought, I really shouldn't be doing that, but he didn't want to overreact and was. So the guy goes on to tell him that, yeah, one of our neighbors down the road tested positive. He's in the hospital. My wife is a nurse. That's one of the nurses taking care of him. So, there's being cautious and then there's being just too nonchalant. The guy should have never offered his hand to shake his hand. Just because of the heightened situation, I'm confident that nothing's going to become of that. And again, my friend's mother is dealing with cancer and other issues, so he was going to go see her today. Well, he had to cancel that because he was in contact with someone that might have been in contact. We're just trying to avoid the spike and get through it. So for me, whatever you want to do, I respect it. Be thoughtful. It's kind of too late now for all the people that are hoarding all the cleaning supplies. You've seen the memes. You take all the soap and then nobody else has soap to wash their hands. So be thoughtful. If you want to lock yourself up in your house, I respect that. If you want to go around hugging everybody and shaking everybody's hand, I respect that. Just respect the fact that if I don't want to hug you or shake your hand, uh, you know, keep in mind that there is a reality to this. It's not all fake. It may seem like some of it is hyped up to you, but for some people that are close to it, some people that have lost friends and family to it, it's a different situation. So just yeah, do you. Those are just my thoughts. I know some people were Some people are like, is it being too cautious, overly cautious? Those are my thoughts. Hopefully that'll help you deal with it. Breathe. We'll get through this. Just respect people, respect their wishes. If somebody doesn't want to go out and be in a crowd, I'm gonna avoid crowds. I'm not much of a crowd person anyway, but given the situation, I can wait a couple of weeks before I go out to crowds. I mean, I went to the gym yesterday. I wiped everything down good before and after. There were very few. I was 6 feet away from everybody else besides my girlfriend. So I'm not staying locked in my house, but I will avoid crowds where some people just don't really take it seriously and don't mind coughing around you or sneezing around you or, doing this with their hand and then hugging up on you. It's kind of gross on an everyday level, but this is a little bit different. This is something new, and we're trying to figure it out. So do what you have to do. Just remember that to respect others and how they're dealing with it and how they're handling it, because everything happens for a reason. If you're familiar with conscious uh, group consciousness, there is that can cure things as well as cause things. So I love you guys. Be safe.